Welcome to Leadership and Learning, the podcast where we help leaders design learning strategies that fuel growth. I'm Jeremy Robb, a fractional Chief Learning Officer, or CLO on Demand, helping startups and scaling companies align people, performance, and purpose. So today we're going to explore the impact of good enablement within an organization and how it can change the whole flow of a training program. So what I want to do is focus on first off what the problem is, and then how enablement solves it, and then what you can do as an organization to build and develop um, more impactful organizational uh, contributions through enablement. Okay, so what's bringing this up? Well, in LinkedIn, I found a post by Nicholas Bird. So Nicholas Bird, excellent post. He's third plus, not connected to me in any way. Just showed up on my feed, and he was talking about how he lost an account manager after 18 months, and so the exit interview flat out said, "Look, I was promised I was going to be doing controller level advisory work. Instead, I became the client's bookkeeper support line." And this is this is a complaint that I've heard a lot from customer success teams, where they feel like they're spending more time troubleshooting and acting as the support team for their clients than actually doing what they're supposed to do, which is help them grow their business utilizing the product that they're representing, right? So that's really what it's about. Instead, they become the support line, and that's frustrating, right? So they went through and they looked at the data, and it was true. They were spending a lot of time answering questions that, quite frankly, they should have already known the answer to. And so they started thinking, what is this? Well, he went to a different um, organization, went to another partner that competes with similar firms, and they had a completely different experience. So they had client portals with video libraries. They had self-service FAQs. They had engaged support folks that were doing what they needed to do. They did a lot of automated error detection within their platform that prevented problems instead of fixing them. And so their advisory team did what their advisory team was supposed to do, which was to work on advisory work. That was it. There wasn't anything else. So really, it's as far as the advisory role, it hasn't changed. It's just because they had a very well designed enablement program, they were able to see better experiences overall for the customer, for the professionals who are helping them, and then for the company as a whole, because you have more happy customers, which is always a good thing. Right. So in my personal experience, I've seen this exact same thing. I've gone into organizations where I've built training programs for them from scratch because they didn't have anything. Or if they did have something, it was usually delivered in maybe like 45 minutes. And it was a sales training, or the deployment or implementation team did the training. And it was a one time thing. Like, here you go, run with it. Okay, here's the problem with that, right? One time training doesn't equal customer success. One time training means those folks in that snapshot know what's going on. Fast forward 6 months, they've moved on because they've been hit by the lottery, because it's nicer than being hit by a bus, right? And they've hired someone new and they have no idea how to utilize this platform. And so they are going to go with one that they're comfortable with. So now you're losing customers because they don't know anything about who you are, because they're not getting the enablement they need. Okay. So with that in mind, a lot of training programs are built for two different people. You'll have an initial training program, which is this is how you use our product or our service. And they're usually quick videos, step by step. A lot of them are on YouTube. It's meant to drive demand, show how easy it is to use the platform, and really build on that experience. And then you'll have more in-depth training that is more job related. So this is, as a sysadmin, you need to do all these things. As a you know developer, these are the skills that you need to have. So that is job training skills, and that is the training that you'll see is often paid for, because you're building skill sets in order to work around your product or around your service. So that's perfectly fine. Now, what's in the middle is regular enablement. And a lot of really well established organizations, and I'm thinking like Salesforce and ServiceNow and even Apple and Microsoft, they all have communities out there that serve this purpose, the ongoing enablement. So people that have questions can go to those community sites and get those questions answered, either from experts or from other folks that are in the community that are not working for your company. The thing is, everyone wants that, but no one knows how to do it right. They all think, I'll just put the community out there and it'll just run, right? You don't get engagement, and that's a problem. So building engagement in a community site is very, very important. So how do you do that? Well, it depends on what it is you want to accomplish, and how do you fix this problem, right? How do you build enablement that scales and keeps people engaged? So the first thing I would do is have a stellar training program that takes care of the job roles, that takes care of the intro stuff. Like, everyone needs to start somewhere. That intro stuff is going to be killer, and you need to keep it up to date. A lot of people like having this in publicly facing and easily searchable platforms like YouTube. That's fine. Just keep in mind that as your product changes, those older videos are going to get stale very quickly, and people are going to see that. So that's a marketing thing. I would highly recommend that you let your marketing team manage that and maintain the public appearance of how to use the product, working ideally with your learning and development team, because they're going to know those step-by-step instructions and all this stuff that's going to be part of your your learning analysis. Um, so that's very important. The role training, this needs to be generic. It needs to apply to anyone that has this type of role, and these are the general tools they need to have within your platform in order to be successful within the platform. Now, this isn't going to scale to organization-specific training and organization-specific applications, right? When someone goes live with your product, they're going through a change management role, and they need to organize that training to look like that. And that's where custom training is very important. Something that's organization specific, outlines what their workflow is going to look like, and how that's going to change and how it's going to flow with the new product, and then you can scale that out. Continual learning and continual development. This is something that is absolutely critical. And this is where communities are so valuable. You'll see, in the post I mentioned self-service FAQs and new client portals with video libraries. That's all great. And automated detection, your product should really do what it can to fix any problems that it detects right away and help customers as much as possible. That's wonderful. But a really strong community that's engaged, that's dedicated to your product is invaluable. And this takes time to build. The way you would start this is um, obviously with a really good community platform. I would recommend something that's tied to uh, LMS or LXP, that's already built in, and you can utilize the training that already exists and reference that. That's perfect. It's great. You need to have employees get involved and engaged and start asking people questions. Hypothetical. If you wanted to accomplish this in the product, how would you do that? Well, let's walk you through that. Walk them through step by step how to do things. Start answering questions as they come in. And then eventually, and of course, have a leaderboard. You want to have folks kind of see who's in the lead for, say, the week or the month or whatever. And then eventually you'll start getting customers answering those same questions. They're going to start feeding into this customer enablement engine. And that's where the real magic happens. This is where you get social learning, individuals contributing to the success of other individuals within the platform, even when they're at different companies. This is an amazing thing to watch. When I see this at ServiceNow, when I was at ServiceNow, it was magical. I mean, it was so much fun. You'd get in there, you had a question, you could search for that particular thing, you get 500 different answers. You can pick what you want, you can comment. People would come back and give the pros and cons of each thing. Everyone wanted to contribute, and they ended up building that contribution, that involvement in the community as part of their advanced certifications, their architect certifications. So yes, an excellent way of building the community and building social learning into your customer enablement. So what we talked about, just to cover this in this quick overview, we talked about kind of the problems that people are seeing with not having a really good enablement program, and that is folks that are not in enablement, that are there to build the program, spend their time putting out fires. And that's not a good use of anyone's time. The impact of having a really good enablement program, which is building loyalty, building strength, and building business, right? You're going to be able to have a stronger retention because you've got really good enablement. People know what they're doing. They're going to want to see that. We talked about 3 ways that you can build your enablement. One is having a strong initial introduction to the platform and how to use your service or product or whatever. Um, have an excellent job specific training that walks people through how to keep your job going and running and maintaining that within the platform, and how the platform feeds into that role. And then lastly, having continuous ongoing social learning through various aspects, but ideally through a strong community. These 3 pillars are going to give you a strong enablement platform that will strengthen your overall organization. It will help your customer success team, your analysts, the folks that are there to help build customers' experiences and businesses utilizing your platform. They're going to be able to do that because that's what they can focus on. Support is going to be spending a lot less time answering simple questions and spending time actually fixing the platform, which is what they really need to do. And then lastly, you're going to have more loyal, more dedicated customers that even if they leave an organization, are going to take that experience with them and move on. That has worked for Apple, that has worked for Microsoft, that has worked for ServiceNow, that's worked for Salesforce. It can work for you. Well, so thank you for your time. If you have any questions or if you want to learn more and you want to understand how you can build this out, feel free to contact us. Come to www.robclan.com and click on book a call, and let's have a chat. Thanks for listening to Leadership and Learning. I'm Jeremy Robb. We'll see you next week for more insights on learning leadership for growth.